Everybody has a price for the Cheap Shot Nation. Hello and welcome to Cheap Shot Entertainment. You are the Cheap Shot Nation, and we're going to do another old school review. It is Wrestlemania season, and what better than to look back 30 years ago at the show that was universally panned, and having watched it, I can see why. It was a bit... It was 3.5 hours long and it had about 60 million matches in it. Some of them lasted 2 seconds. There was a lot of DQs, a lot of screwy finishes. But I'm going to take you through everything that happened at that show. Incidentally, it took place at the Trump Plaza, talking about screwy finishes. Election 2016, anyone? Featured $1 Million Man, Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, billed as the rematch from WrestleMania 3, which was universally seen as one of the greatest WrestleManias in history. So why did they follow up with this? I'm going to save you from having to watch it. It is available on the network if you want to put yourself through 3.5 hours of viewing hell. I seem to remember this being more exciting when I've watched it before, but this time, as through the eyes of a reviewer, it was a bit rubbish, to be honest. Anyway, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to leave a like and do all that kind of stuff on the Facebook, on the YouTube channel and things. So we're going to go through everything that happened at WrestleMania 4. The reason I'm doing WrestleMania 4, even though it's 31 years ago, because it took place in 1988, is because it leads up to WrestleMania 5. And we're going to do that review as well. Hopefully these will go on before WrestleMania as well, so you can get your WrestleMania fill on Cheap Shot Entertainment, and then we'll do the review of WrestleMania and, of course, TakeOver. Let's head into the video. Let's head to Atlantic City, 1988, Trump Plaza, for WrestleMania 4. So, as usual in WrestleManias, we get a rendition of the national anthem. This year it was sung by Gladys Knight, a very well-known soul singer, and introduced by none other than Mean Gene Okerlund. God bless you. You were absolutely awesome when you were still with us, and still fondly remembered today through the eyes of WWE fans everywhere. It is Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura, two of my favourite commentators, two guys that work so well together. Gorilla with his very down-to-earth commentary, and Jesse the Body Ventura was just out there. Same as the pairing between Gorilla and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Face heel dynamic. You had to have one that was totally out there and one that was grounded, and it works really, really well, and serves as some of the enjoyment I had out of this WrestleMania. But we get a glimpse, so to speak, of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. All the way back in 1988, we have the Invitational Battle Royal. Bob Uecker. I've no idea who he is. I think he's something to do with baseball. And it was basically a load of teams in the ring, a load of people. I'm not sure what they won. I think they won a big trophy, actually, which, like I say, it was a prelude to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I don't think they got anything else. They didn't get put into the tournament for the World Championship or anything like that, which... it would have been nice just to have that wild card in there. Would have made it a bit more interesting. But it didn't. The guys got chucked out. I think it was about 20 guys. Junkyard Dog, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Bad News Brown are left in the ring as the three remainers in this match. Junkyard Dog gets ganged up on by Bad News Brown and Bret the Hitman Hart, who is a heel at this point, playing a heel way before his time in 1997 when he reformed the Hart Foundation. So with the Junkyard Dog out, we're down to the last two. Bad News Brown double crosses Bret the Hitman Hart with a kick to the back of the head, known as the Ghetto Blaster. And Bad News Brown eliminates the Hitman to win the Battle Royal. The Hitman has a strop in the middle of the ring, and we all know how well he can do this based on 1997. Hello, Bret. And destroys the trophy, which was just huge. It was like bigger than that. Yeah, that's the Battle Royal. Bad News Brown is your winner. Yeah, bit of a cluster. I'm not going to say the other words that I'm thinking of at this point. Bit of a cluster, bit difficult to... and there was nothing apart from a trophy to be won, so it wasn't interesting. It just wasn't interesting. There was no... like I said, if they'd put someone in the tournament as a wild card, then fantastic, brilliant. But it wasn't, and the tournament could have been shorter as well. They could have had some of the qualifiers on Super or Saturday prime time wrestling, that kind of thing. But yeah, there was no prize apart from a big trophy, and it was just like, meh. And so we move on to the first round of the tournament. I think there's like 16 guys in this tournament. It goes on for the first round, the quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final. Working that out. Yeah, 16. But there wasn't 16 because Hulk and Andre got a bye into the second round, or the quarterfinals as it were. So we go on to the first round. It is Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the $1 Million Man, because everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man. He comes out with Andre the Giant, a client of his. He has bought the contract of Andre the Giant, and this is what makes $1 Million Man so brilliant. He just chucks his money about and says, I'm going to buy that. Even makes himself a title later on. Come WrestleMania 5, he's got that $1 Million championship, which was worth a lot, but in wrestling terms, not worth anything because it was never defended. But still brilliant. It's like, yeah, I'm rich. Anyway, the match ends after, like, none of these matches go sort of 5 minutes, so it's really difficult to sort of say, yeah, that was great. Andre grabs the leg of Hacksaw Jim Duggan and punches Jim in the face for DiBiase to get the pin in the roll-up. So DiBiase moves on to the second round or quarterfinals in this tournament. Like I say, this is the kind of match that could have been put on a pre-show or a build-up to WrestleMania. There was just so many matches. I think like in a 3.5 hour span there was like 20 matches, and they all had screw finishes. Like this one, Andre the Giant hit Jim Duggan in the face, and then DiBiase rolled him up. It wasn't a great match. DiBiase carried it, and Duggan is just Duggan. He just goes ho, and then yeah, he's just yeah. But your winner and the right winner in this match, thanks to Andre the Giant, is Ted DiBiase. So we're going to move on to the second match of the first round, which is Dino Bravo, the Canadian strongman, and he's going against The Rock, the original Rock, Don Morocco. Incidentally, quite surprisingly actually, Don Morocco does win, but again, this is what I was alluding to. It was a DQ finish, bit of a screwy finish. Bravo pulls the referee into the path of a flying Don Morocco, and gets disqualified, and your winner is Don Morocco. We go on to the third match of the first round. It is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat coming out to the ring with Little Ricky, as a sort of a little mascot, a little good luck charm. It doesn't work for him, unfortunately. He's going against Greg the Hammer Valentine. He is with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, baby. And yeah, Steamboat loses. He's obviously distraught, having brought his son to the ring. Incidentally, Ricky Jr. is now a wrestler. So yeah, it's funny how these things happen. But he did have his start of his development in WWE. He's not wrestling for WWE obviously at the moment. He's on the independent circuit, but I'm going to have a look at some of his stuff and see if he's as good as his dad was way back in the day, even to the point where what was it, I think it was WrestleMania 26, they had the match at Backlash, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat still had it then, but we're talking like 10 years ago from now, so he's like 10 years older than he was. But Steamboat tries to hit a flying crossbody. He does hit the flying crossbody, but the veteran mind of the Hammer, Greg the Hammer, allows him to catch I'm going to call him Superfly, catch Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and roll through and get the pin. So again, another short match. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat tries to carry it. Greg the Hammer Valentine tends to be one of those wrestlers that takes a while to warm up. I've seen some really good matches with Greg the Hammer Valentine involved. But unfortunately, he, and much like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, was never a main event player. And you look back in the history of the WWE, you think, how were they not in the main event at some point? Constant mid-carders. They were picked up a couple of intercontinental titles each, but yeah, this had the potential to be match of the night, but like I say, he rolls through, grabs the tights, gets the win. Greg the Hammer Valentine is your winner. But like I say, there were so many matches in this show that they couldn't give any time to any of the wrestlers in this first round. Like I say, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. We do get a brief interlude now with a tag team championship match. Well, it's not a tag team championship match actually. It is just a, and we see lots of managers coming out to the ring. It is the British Bulldogs accompanied by Matilda, and they're going in there with Coco Beware. It is a 6-man tag match. They're going against. Oh no, that's that's later on in the night. They just had an interview saying they're going weasel hunting. So yeah, we'll get. So we now have another first round match. The Natural Butch Reed with Slick the Slickster versus the Macho Man Randy Savage. Incidentally, I would have worn my Macho Man Randy Savage t-shirt, but it is green, and I would have disappeared apart from my head and my arms, which would have been pretty cool, but very weird at the same time. But an insight into the magic of Harry Potter there, the invisibility cloak. Anyway, Savage is with Elizabeth. Butch Reed is with Slick, so we have more managers out of the ring. Macho Man would go on to win this contest by a flying elbow and a pin on the Natural Butch Reed, going into the quarterfinals of the WWE Championship Tournament. We next get another first round match. It's Bam Bam Bigelow versus the One Man Gang, and again Slick is down with the One Man Gang. Incidentally, the One Man Gang would eventually turn into Hakeem. Just let that sink in just a little bit. Anyway, it is One Man Gang who wins this match by count out. So the one-man gang knocks Bam Bam Bigelow out of the ring. He can't answer the 10 count, and we get another screwy finish. Match goes 2-3 minutes. Another first round match now in Rick Rude versus Jake the Snake Roberts. This is a rivalry that's been brewing for quite a while before WrestleMania 4, and both guys can carry a good match. Rick Rude was phenomenal back in the day, and so was Jake the Snake Roberts with his character. Incidentally, we did get boring chants for the first time in the night. I thought that was a bit harsh because there was a lot of rest holds, but at this point the whole show has been pretty boring, to be honest. But it is a double count out as both guys fight outside the ring and fail to answer the referee's 10 count, and he marks it a draw. Actually, it's not. This is the first match actually that we go 15 minutes on. It's not a double DQ or double count out. It is in fact a draw. Like I say, boring chants. Damien gets introduced into the ring, but this is the only time you would see Jake the Snake Roberts in this match. And throughout the show, the one-man gang incidentally does get a bye then to the semi-finals because of this contest. So we now get a brief interlude with another match. It is Hercules, who is heel in this match, versus the Ultimate Warrior, the consummate babyface, even though he's just like completely out there. Hercules has the Warrior pretty much down and out in this match until he gets the Warrior in a full Nelson. The Warrior flips off the turnbuckle a la Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8. Obviously this happened before that. For the pin, Hercules could not escape that with his shoulders down. After the match, Hercules attacks the Warrior and with the chain tries to choke him. The Warrior then snaps the chain in half and breaks the unbreakable chain of Hercules, straight like furthering his sort of status as this like being from another world, as he would have you believe in WWE. We do get a great hype package next of the rivalry between Andre and Hulk Hogan, going all the way back to the Silverdome brother at WrestleMania 3. Going all the way back there and building up and up and up. Obviously, Ted DiBiase buying Andre's contract, Andre the Giant briefly winning the championship and then passing it to Ted DiBiase, which I believe is the point where President Jack Tunney, yes, so they had a president, decided that the belt should be vacant. The $1 Million Man has not won it, he's bought it. We then get a 16-man tournament for the vacant. First ever time that it's been vacant, or at least it's billed as the first time it's been vacant. We get a 16-man tournament. But this, of course, Andre versus Hogan. Hogan's always sort of main event-ish in WrestleManias. Has been for the previous 3 years. Does turn up in the main event of this one as well. And would be main eventing for quite a while until he left for pastures new, WCW, and he sold his soul to the $1 Billion Man instead. So he was just waiting out. So yeah, the great hype package. DiBiase tries to buy the title from Hogan. He says no. Andre wins it, sells it to the $1 Million Man, and then the title is made vacant. So yeah, great hype package there, old school hype package, love those things, gets you going for the match. And so we finally, The Rock, now finally get a second round match. Just remember, I watch these things so you don't have to. We finally get a second round match. And this has just killed my childhood, my nostalgia for old school WrestleManias. Just watching this and doing this video. It is Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan in what was a rematch of the match at WrestleMania 3, the main event. The slam heard around the world, the slam that hurt Andre so much that he was out for a good couple of months after, or Hulk Hogan couldn't pick him up properly and do it properly. But Andre the Giant is out with his manager Ted DiBiase. Interesting, because DiBiase is also in the tournament, so if Andre goes through, he faces Ted DiBiase. Of course that's not going to happen. Andre the Giant is in the pocket of Ted DiBiase, and it turns out that we have a double DQ after both guys use a chair on each other. The winner of DiBiase versus Morocco then gets a bye straight into the final because, there's no one to go against in the semis, which is interesting. But yeah, another screen finish, another DQ finish, and gritted teeth is starting to grate a little bit now. But we're going to go on to the next match in the quarterfinals. It is The Rock, Don Morocco versus Ted DiBiase, incidentally. So he could have quite happily just stayed out in the ring. And this is what I mean by a bit of a cluster bomb. Because so many matches in so little time. I don't even think we've got past the hour mark at this point. DiBiase wins, clotheslining The Rock onto the top rope. So a bit of a stun gun manoeuvre, something that would be made famous later on by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Incidentally came into the WWE as the ringmaster and was the $1 Million champion for a while, handpicked by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. So the stun gun gets the win for DiBiase. He goes straight into the finals with whoever gets through the next match and gets through the semi-final as well. So it is the next match is Greg the Hammer Valentine versus the Macho Man. We all know the outcome of this. Randy Savage wins via reversal of the figure 4 leg lock into a small package. So Greg the Hammer Valentine gives a good account of himself in this match, gets a little bit more time to play. Like I say, he's a slow starter, he always has been, but he's a very, very accomplished wrestler when it comes to the technical side of what we know and love as graps. So small package for the win. Like I say, Macho Man is pretty much down and out in this match, but he does get the small package for the win. He goes through again, wrestled a total of about 10 minutes so far, 2 matches. I think he's expended more energy coming down that humongous rampway from the top of Trump Plaza, but it's bad when you remember more about the rampway than the actual matches, isn't it? But it was iconic and it's still iconic now. Iconic venue for WrestleMania 4. So yeah, Savage would win. He would go on to the semi-finals to face who is it? Go on to face someone. DiBiase. It's not DiBiase. So we get another match afterwards. So we go on to face someone else. We get a brief interlude now as the Intercontinental title match is going to play out. We get the Honky Tonky Man, who is the current reigning and defending and the best ever Intercontinental champion. Honky Tonky Man said in the best Santino Marella voice, the Honky Tonky Man. So the Honky Tonk Man versus the Brutus Barber Beefcake. Yeah, the Brutus Barber Beefcake. Crazy guy, best friends with Hulk Hogan. You can tell why later on in his career. Brutus Barber Beefcake Beefed wins via DQ after the honky tonky man attacks the ref. Yeah. We now get a 6-man tag team match and another brief interlude before we go on to I believe the semi-finals. Actually, I don't know if I've missed a match out here. But the idea still remains the same. The WrestleMania 4 was a bit rubbish. Islanders and Bobby Heenan wearing an attack dog suit because they've trained Matilda. The British Bulldogs have trained Matilda to be a weasel hunter, and of course Heenan known popularly as the Weasel, going against Ultimate Warrior at one point in a Weasel suit match, which was quite entertaining. And they're going against the British Bulldogs and Coco Beware, and they have brought Matilda down with them to the ring. That dog must be scared out of her mind. All these people like cheering and screaming and trying to pet her, and poor dog. Animal welfare. WWE animal welfare. Anyway, Heenan gets the pin in this match for him and the Islanders, who pick up victory. After the referee is distracted by a breakdown of the match, and the Islanders collectively pick up Heenan, drop him on Coco Beware. You're not getting out of that. Bobby the Brain's splash for the win. Great move from Bobby the Brain Heenan. Very technically sound as well from Bobby Heenan to do that splash move was absolutely phenomenal. Bobby the Brain Heenan for the win, and the Islanders and Bobby Brain Heenan. Bobby Heenan win the match over the British Bulldogs and Coco Beware. So we're going to move on to the semi-finals next. So we move on to the semi-finals. Of course, DiBiase got a bye in the match. And of course, One Man Gang, of course, that's why I thought I'd missed a match. One Man Gang got a bye into the semi-finals. It's One Man Gang versus Macho Man Randy Savage. This is why I said you could have had like the semi-finals and the final, or the quarter-final, semi-final, final on WrestleMania, and done the qualifiers beforehand. Give people a bit more time to work, you know, make it a bit more interesting. But it would be Savage who would win by a DQ. What a surprise. A DQ win after One Man Gang tries to use the Slickster's cane on Macho Man, as Macho Man rolls out of the way several times in sort of a cartoony like fashion, very reminiscent of Ninja Turtles, in fact. Your winner is Macho Man Randy Savage, and he goes into the finals to go against the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase to crown the WWE champion at WrestleMania 4. We next get a WWE Tag Team Championship match. It is Demolition versus Strikeforce. Demolition are the heels in this match, and Strikeforce have reformed after disbanding and going their separate ways. It is Chico and Rick Martel who form Strikeforce, quite a formidable team back in the day. No, we got the reunion the following year. My mistake. It is Strikeforce who are the tag team champions. I didn't make that on my notes. Naughty me. Strikeforce who are the champions versus Demolition, who have previously had the championships and want them again, obviously. They come down to the ring with Mr. Fuji. Oh, I love Mr. Fuji. And Demolition win by using the cane on Rick Martel after Santana is preoccupied with Mr. Fuji, who is causing the distraction. Don't know where the referee is in this match, but we get hashtag new tag team champions. Yeah, a decent, a semi-decent match. Yeah, I do like tag team wrestling. It has always been a favourite of mine. Just the psychology of it and things like that. But if you're a heel tag team, I won't go and watch this match. But Mr. Fuji knows how to work it on that ring as a manager. And between Mr. Fuji, Bobby the Brain Heenan in the Mouth and the South, Jimmy Hart, I'd love to be a wrestling manager at some point in the near future. So if you're watching this, hit me up on Cheap Shot Entertainment. I'd love to be a wrestling manager, a heel wrestling manager, of course. I'd like to come down with a cane and things, or cane and a megaphone, or, you know, just nick a load of gimmicks and put them all together. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't, I don't know. Answers in the comment section down below. Anyway, we're going to move on to the final. Finally, we're nearing the end of this god-awful WrestleMania. It is Ted DiBiase versus the Macho Man Randy Savage, and it would turn out to be, you know, as you'd expect, the main event to be one of the best match on the card, the one that everyone was waiting for. Kind of knew the outcome anyway, because it was 30 years ago and I've watched it before. But Macho Man would come out on top. DiBiase would not have Andre the Giant with him in this one. Macho is the only person who's wrestled four matches. DiBiase got a bye into the semi-finals because of Andre and Hogan. He got a bye into the finals, didn't he? Because that was the second round match. So he only wrestled two matches, but Macho Man won. What I found amazing about the Macho Man in WrestleMania 4 is that every time he came out for a match, he was wearing a different costume, and he was matched by the Miss Elizabeth. Fourth match of the night by a flying elbow. How else are you going to win, Macho? Flying elbow for the win. But Andre came down. Actually, no, Andre was with him. Hogan came down. Miss Elizabeth ran back to the dressing room, went to fetch Hulk Hogan. Like I say, he would appear in this match and steal the spotlight. And I agree with Savage when it comes to WrestleMania 5. He did steal his spotlight. Comes in to save Savage with a chair shot to Andre the Giant. Savage would hold the title then until WrestleMania 5, and that's the review we're going to do next. Incidentally, it did take place on the 27th of March, which is the day that we're recording this, so that's pretty damn cool. In the meantime, Savage would hold the title for a year. In the meantime, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage would form the Mega Powers and beat Andre and DiBiase at SummerSlam of 1989. 1988, so later on the same year, and then explode in 1989 at WrestleMania 5. And there's also, Trump Plaza is the only venue that's been used twice in 2 years. I forget, a lot of venues being reused now, and they tend to stay in sort of one part of America, which is, yeah, it's the only one that's the first and only venue that's been used twice in 2 years. It's never been done again. Only time in history for Trump Plaza. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit of a screwy WrestleMania, really. Bit like the 2016 US election. Donald Trump knew how to work it. Sat up front row, centre. Still got the same hair, bit darker. Still looks like an animal's been shot and put on top of his head. And he's still a dick. You've heard it here first on Cheap Shot Entertainment. So yeah, that is everything. Your new champion after a grueling, I'd say grueling, tournament of mediocre status. Macho Man wins the title. He would be a fantastic champion, though, not to take it away from him. And like I say, hold the title for a whole year, which was unheard of at the time, going into the sort of new generation from Bruno Sammartino and things. So yeah, that's your winner. Macho Man wins the tournament, and there was lots of DQ finishes, and yeah, that's WrestleMania 4. And so we finally finished WrestleMania 4. Lots of screwy finishes. And I'll say this again, election 2016, anybody? Lots of screwy finishes, lots of managers getting involved. It just wasn't very entertaining. It's just not a good WrestleMania. There was too many matches, and the matches that they had couldn't build enough to be interesting for the people in the crowd. For me, watching it 30 years later, it just wasn't good. Just not a good WrestleMania. We go from WrestleMania 3 to WrestleMania 4. I don't know what happened in that year, but WrestleMania 4 is not something that I'd recommend you watch anytime soon. It is on the network, hashtag $9.99, but watch it in your own at your own peril. I watch these things so you don't have to. And yeah, you're the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host, Lou. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. You can hit an Andre the Giant size big boot on that subscription button and a savage elbow drop on that notification bell to know when we upload new content to the channel. This has been the review of WrestleMania 4. It's rubbish, don't watch it. And like I say, that's it for me. We're going to go and do WrestleMania 5 now, which is the culmination of what happened at WrestleMania 4, which is a better pay-per-view. Still not great, but it's much better paced and things. And we hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave us a comment, do all that stuff on YouTube, join us on social media like I've already alluded to, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.